So this weekend, I don't know if it was planned or unplanned, but the Disc Golf Pro Tour cut the field. After 2 rounds, they cut the field. They cut off part of the field.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Players Meeting, a Dummies production, proudly powered by the ACDGC and the KDGA. I'm your host, Lucas Deal, and this is episode number 56. This week, the Music City Open brought the heat and the headlines. The skies opened up, the FPO got shook up, and Abbie Wilson lit up the headlines with the protest that the disc golf world is still talking about. And how about the Finnish Cowboy? Niklas Anttila, he rode into Nashville, showed that course who was boss, and walked out with a guitar slung over his shoulder.
Yeehaw!
We'll dig into the shots, the shocks, and the storylines. Plus, we finally got a winner in Survivor League. It's all in this episode, so stay strapped in. This is the Players Meeting, where scorecards end and opinions begin. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Disc and Deals Coverage YouTube. That's where you're going to find all of these amazing podcasts. Look at some from the past. Tell us how we're doing. Let us know in the comments. Make sure you hit that bell for notifications so you never miss a single one. But without further ado, let's bring in the real star of the show, the one-time world champ, Chris Smith, a.k.a. Smitty. What up, my dude?
Getting back to swing of things, dude. Spent the weekend in California at San Diego watching my son graduate from Marine boot camp. It was quite an event.
Yeah, I saw you posted a picture. That dude looks like he grew 6 inches since the last time you saw him.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to star in Reacher season 5. He ought to be out of his training and able to have a little free time. So,
all right.
No, he weighed 185 when he went in, and he said he weighed 215 right now.
Wow.
So, yeah, he's a big old boy.
Yeah, watch out. Yeah, Reacher, I think could be in the cards for sure. Did you get to play the disc golf out in San Diego?
No. I played for the first time last night.
Okay.
Hit an ace on hole 1 at Millbrook.
For the 77th time, probably?
First time with this shot. Anheuser with the EMAC.
Oh.
That's fun. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got an ace last week as well. I got number 10 at Oak with a little buzz. Really windy day. Was a bad shot where a lot of aces are. Was high and dropped just the right second. Hit the chains. If it wouldn't have hit the chains, it's OB for sure.
But it did.
But yeah, we count those. All right, dude. There was a lot going on this weekend. So are you ready to get into it?
Yeah, it was a great weekend for disc golf.
All right, well, let's start where we always start. What's popping? What's been happening around the world of disc golf? And this week, Smitty, we know it's all about the Music City Open.
Mm-hmm. What a great event, saved by some fantastic finishes, and what could have been a terrible event, they somehow pulled off to be something special.
Yeah, I did not think we were going to get 3 rounds, and we absolutely did.
Yeah, I was for sure we weren't.
Yeah, so we got to give a shout out to the crew at the Music City Open, at that course, because they did an amazing job to ensure that this thing was playable. There were a few muddy spots, but with the amount of rain that they had, how could there not be? But it's amazing that there wasn't more. How impressed were you with the grounds crew here?
Dude, it's incredible. They were adding mulch and, from what I understand, clearing creeks so they would drain. And yeah, this front just pretty much sat on top in Nashville and just dumped on them and dumped on them. If you watch Simon's vlog, they even had a little hail, and he got out and was putting in the hail and where he was going to hurt his frisbee. But yeah, dude, it's incredible that what they were able to do. And then I don't know if you've heard much about this course, but I heard that a couple of dudes and a zero-turn mower mow this thing the month before the tournament, and the rest of the year it's just a big open field.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. That's even more impressive.
Yeah. I don't know that we're going to see it on tour much longer, but.
All right, Smitty, did you get a chance to watch any of Jomez?
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I really enjoyed it.
For those of you that have not seen, KJ USA in the booth for Yulee doing some commentary. And Smitty, I was very, very impressed with KJ. I loved him on the mic. What'd you think?
Yeah, I like it. It used to be a thing that Jomez did quite often, is they would bring in a couple of different people, at stops throughout the tour. And I always enjoyed getting a different perspective. I love Yulee and Germ. I sometimes think they get pretty silly and pretty goofy, and it just is kind of the same old song and dance. And yeah, I thought KJ's done some commentary before for Jomez, I think, and definitely for GK. But he's great, and it was good. I'd like to see other people back on there. I don't know what happened to Nate Sexton, but he was always a favorite of mine on commentary. I don't know if it needs to be a revolving door of tour players, but I don't hate the idea that we had somebody new at this event.
Yeah. Again, I thought it was real nice, and I liked his perspective on things. I liked the way he broke things down. It was really nice to hear.
Yeah, he's good. He was good.
All right, you want to jump into some of the drama from the Music City Open, Smitty?
I'm not going to jump into it too much, but we can talk about it a little bit.
All right. So for those of you that may have not seen, Abbie Wilson on hole 1 of the first round of her MCO, she stood on the tee box, said that people need to stand up for the women's sports, and she refused to play. And she was going to be on Natalie Ryan's card, and so she walked right on out of there. It was a big protest. A lot of people are talking about this. Smitty, would you like to give your take, and I'll give mine?
I think she had a right, obviously, to be concerned. This event last year had threats against Natalie, and supposedly they had increased law presence there. I don't know that they did. I haven't heard anything on that side. Supposedly they're doing bag checks. I heard they were going to do a lot of things to beef up security, and I don't know how much of it happened. I don't think Natalie Ryan should play in that division. I hate the fact that she does, but it's not my call, and she's within, I guess, her rights to do that as well, looking at from the other side of the coin. Now, this gal, Abigail, there was something posted before the event of some people would pay $750 to get this caught on tape. And I've read that, according to her, it wasn't money motivated, which makes me ask, why didn't she do this 2 months ago? Why don't you do this at a different event? I guess because this is Natalie's first event to come out and play this year. Yeah, dude, I don't know where it stands. I know that this thing has gone viral. It's reached media outside of disc golf now. It's got 3 million views on some sites, and you know how things are spinning off to other places now, and it's people snipping it and whatever. It's catching traction, and it can only probably help protect the women's division. I'm not one of those guys that is going to go out of my way to be a douche about it all. A lot of people truly are, just jerks about the whole thing when that's not even really their fight. They're protecting women. Well, I feel like these gals can do like Abigail did and not play. And as soon as they get somebody like Kristen Tatar, Silva Saarinen, somebody who's important to the game of disc golf to say, I'm not playing if she's here, then I think maybe something will happen. But if you think back just to a few years ago, the PDJ and the Disc Golf Pro Tour were in a huge fight with Natalie Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
Not Natalie Ryan, but people and groups backing Natalie's right to play with way deeper pockets than the PDJ has. And they were just losing money hand over fist trying to fight it and eventually gave into it. But if all these other women see her sign up and just say, yeah, I'm out, I'm not playing, maybe Natalie won't play.
Yeah, I never think that Natalie's going to stop. I think she's going to continue, which sucks for those of us that don't think she should play. But as you mentioned, she's well within what her right to play currently, which is the bigger problem I have. The DGPT tried to fight this, and they got sued and sued and sued and kept losing. And so at the end of the day, their hands are pretty much tied as far as what they can do about this, and it sucks. I do agree that if more people step up and say, yo, I'm not playing, someone that is a little bit different than Abigail, not saying Abigail, what she didn't make a difference, but I mean, keep in mind, she averaged 34th on tour last year. She made $252 all of last year. She's not someone that's a spotlight in the FPO side of things. So if you do get someone that's a little higher up that could potentially lose some money by stepping away and saying, no, I'm not going to play, maybe something happens. At the end of the day, I just don't know what can happen because we've been down this road before.
Mm-hmm. And you're talking about somebody with power and presence in disc golf. I don't know if you watched the entire video and watched her walk off. She said, have a nice round. And did you see who was in the video and what her response was?
Yeah, Paige Pierce.
And what did she say?
We definitely will.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it's tough. I mean, I don't have a dog in the fight, really. I'm not a woman. I'm not on the pro tour. I'm whatever, but I don't like it. I wish there was something that could be done. I think it is an unfair advantage, and I think all disc golf players, women, should be glad that Natalie Ryan sucks at disc golf.
Yeah.
If she was going in and throwing down 10, 25, 10, 30 rounds week in and week out, I think this might be a bigger story than what it is now.
That's a really good point.
Yeah. Thanks. Sometimes I have those.
Well, let's jump into some of the actual action on the course. What about this battle down the stretch between Silva and Kristen, Smitty?
Well, what about that graphic first? Come on.
It looks amazing.
Thank you. It was a great battle. I know you were excited about it.
I was. I love when someone else has put themselves in a position to beat Kristen because she's always the odds-on favorite. So it's nice when someone else is there, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, even though Silva was there, she kind of fell apart, Smitty. She let the pressure get to her. And I know we're going to talk a little bit about what happened at the end, but I just want to talk about her putting in general. This is why I love Silva, because she's such an amazing putter. Listen to this, Smitty. Round 1, C1X, 100%. Round 2, 90%. Round 3, final round, only 71%. All right. And pressure putts are such a different thing than those early rounds, especially when you have arguably the greatest female player ever on your heels. C2 for Silva, where she really makes a lot of her cheddar. 3 for 7 first round, 3 for 5 second round, 0 for 3 final round. Again, it's just all of that pressure mounted. And of course, Kristen had some amazing shots down the stretch to really put even more pressure on. So let's kind of slide in over to that, Smitty. Look at how these final holes shook out. Silva, 3-stroke lead going into 17. 3 strokes. And this is where her not having a backhand could be potentially part of the reason. A forehand. You know what I meant. Not having a forehand could be part of the problem. But she throws a really good turnover. But she early released, and it was not good. She was in the stuff, and she ended up bogeying. And then Kristen hit a dagger. Outside circle, hit the birdie, and now it was only 1 stroke going into the final hole. Smitty, on that particular hole, do you think 17 is what cost Silva the tournament?
Well, it didn't help her by any means, did it? So I think she was bad off of the tee, right? Early release, like you said.
Yeah.
And I don't know if she was flustered or what, but her pitch out wasn't great.
Yeah.
I mean, it put her in a bad spot. That's ultimately what caught her. But before we dive too deep into this last few holes, I want to touch a little bit on what you talked about. You were saying you were giving these putting stats for Silva the first 2 rounds, and then the third round, her putting stats weren't mind-blowing like the first 3,
right?
Or the first 2. And I think you can attribute a lot of that to the fact that she's in the lead and playing with the lead, and the goal is to not blow the lead.
So playing safer is what you're saying?
Playing safer, maybe laying up some circle 2 putts that she might have ran in the first 2 rounds. Because at one point, she had a pretty substantial lead.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was stomping a mud hole in her. And even going into 17, she had enough strokes to win. At that point, she's got to realize this is match play. I'm playing against the greatest woman player of all time. I got to figure out how to win this. And yeah, 17, she blew it. Kind of blew it. That putt that Kristen made was nasty.
It was, man.
And I think you might have messaged me and said, does Kristen make this putt? And I'm pretty sure the response was, yeah, duh.
Yeah, you just said duh. You didn't even have to say yeah. It was just duh.
I mean, that chick is clutch, dude.
She is, man. And that was so impressive.
And then the drive on 18, not only was it ridiculous, but it's one of these points where the best player gets the best breaks. That could have hit the rocks and left it 35, 40 feet, but it didn't. It skipped right up on the mud and basically based the sucker. And Silva put a pretty good move on it. Put herself in a bad spot. And you asked me if she was going to make it. And I said, no, I didn't expect her to hit the tree and leave herself with what could have ended it in regulation and could have really blown it.
Yeah, wasn't a great putt. I will say there's a little bit of controversy there with her and Ella going at the same time, and it kind of made her step back and then reassess things. You know, those things can kind of get in your head when it's already a pressure-filled moment. So that stunk. But man, I wanted her to have that. You know, I was rooting for her to make that putt because I wanted someone else to be able to step up and hit a clutch putt in those moments. But no one could do it except for Kristen.
This might be a hot take. I don't know if there's anybody more clutch in disc golf right now than Kristen Tatar.
Are you saying men and women? Just
across
the board.
Look how the last 2 events have played out. She's been dead with 4 holes to go on both of them and fought her way back to a shot at winning and winning. Now, she's getting some help from the other gals.
Yeah.
But she has to put herself in those positions or these gals just don't suck bad enough to lose and they end up winning. But yeah, I don't know if I would have picked anybody else to take that putt on 17. I knew it was in. I had no doubt in my mind that she was going to make it.
Yeah, it was uber impressive. So heartbreaking for Silva. But again, anytime you lose, anytime you go through those lumps, it's a learning experience. And as long as you learn from that? Hey, what can you take away from that? There's a lot of things that she can learn from that, and I hope she does learn from it.
I think she will. But look at that guitar.
Pretty sweet, isn't it?
Yeah, man. And she's got 3 of those bad boys.
I know we don't talk a lot about the trophies, but this has to be the best trophy there is out there, right? This thing,
Yeah.
like it's not even close, right?
I'm not even a guitar guy and I want it.
Yeah, that's like a $3,500 retail or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that thing's gross.
Yeah. Absolutely sick.
Okay. Let's talk about a couple of these people. We got Caden's top 5 finish. How big of a moment do you think this is for her career? And Lucas, what stood out to you about her game this weekend?
Dude, I love her. I loved her energy. And again, the reason I love Silva is really kind of the reason I am a huge fan of Cadence. She putted really, really well and on camera for most of the weekend. She was 83% from C1X for the tournament. That was 3rd best in the field. She was 5th best from C2. I mean, she putted extremely well. She didn't really park a lot of things, but she was making her putts. And as long as she's doing that, I think she's going to continue to increase her game. This is her highest finish ever on the DGPT. She's still extremely, extremely young. And I think once she gets a little bit more distance, her putting's already strong. I love to see up-and-comers that can maybe challenge Kristen. That's all I'm looking for. Who can push Kristen a little harder? She may not be the one right now, but hey, she's on her way, and I love to see it. Very impressed with her performance this weekend.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think that Kristen, Silva, Cadence, Own, all just defunk all these gals can't putt because their hands are too small, all this stuff. These 4 seem to find a way to do it. Kristen's putt, sick, nasty, all the time. Silva's putt, that thing's got pace, bro. That thing is good, and
it is.
She's going to bang them. And I think these other gals, man, if they're going to compete, they got to figure it out. And I'm quite frankly, I'm tired of saying they have to figure it out.
What's crazy to me about Kristen's is that she completely changed the way that she putts from outside circle because everyone was calling her on a foot fault. So now she does it differently, and she still bangs them like, what up now? And I think that is just like the brilliance and the dominance of Kristen.
Yeah. I think she outworks a lot of them. I don't know that for sure, but you're not that good if you're not outworking.
Yep.
Okay, and we welcome back Haley King, her season debut, right? She lands in the top 10, ended with a top 10 finish. What were your impressions on her performance and the significance of her playing without a sponsor, if there is one?
For a top 10 finish, I didn't really see Haley all weekend on coverage. So it's kind of quiet. You expect a top 10 finish out of Haley. The fact that she doesn't have a sponsor is surprising, I guess. It seems like Innova did such a good job of like standing by her through her mental struggles. And the fact that she's still not with them is, I don't know what happened there. I don't know if that was her decision or Innova's decision. Regardless, I did see when she announced that she was coming back, she had some type of video that said, hey, I'm going to play like I always did when I first started playing, just for the love of the game. And that was when I didn't have a sponsor. And so I like that. Maybe the sponsor part of things made things even more pressure filled for her. And now maybe she can play a little bit more carefree without having to worry about it. But at the same time, it's going to be tough to get to these places if you're funding yourself. So,
and getting 10th place.
And getting 10th place, 20 strokes, I think, out of first. So
right.
It's
I wouldn't want to sponsor her. Not at all. I think she's burnt her bridges with all of her previous sponsors. And as you know that I think that her ceiling is as high as any of the women in the disc golf Any of them. She's as good as any of them. But you don't know what you're going to get. Things start to go south. She checks out. I don't remember if you remember her controversial post at Worlds. None of that stuff outweighs what I'm going to get from her.
Yeah, 1,000%.
If she can show up and dominate and win these tournaments, I could probably live with some of that stuff. But she going to show up and get 10th, 20 strokes out of the lead and not even make coverage, I don't care. Stay home, play Rocket League.
Is she a Rocket League player?
I know she's a game nerd.
I love that you know Rocket League, though. That's pretty cool. You're pretty hip, Smitty.
I do work at a middle school.
Yeah, let's talk about these guys. We had a battle down to the wire, Smitty. Late in the final round, we had a three-way tie between Lil Nick, the GOAT, McBeast, and then Austin Turner. And then somehow, out of nowhere, here's Gannon Burr into the mix, which he always seems to do. But Smitty, I'm just going to have you kind of break down what you thought of this final round and the battle between all of these players and how it shook out, because it was fun.
Yeah, I couldn't get away from the coverage. I had to stay and watch. I'll tell you where Gannon Burr came from. 10 out of the first 11 holes. That's nasty.
Chase card.
Yeah, and just shredding. Did you notice his knee brace? I don't know what was up with that. I hadn't noticed that before. And it looked like when he was walking, maybe he was favoring it a little bit. Yeah. So I don't know. Hopefully he can shake that off and get himself healthy. This is the second or third event in a row where we've heard about something, a back or a neck, and now a knee. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, yeah, he's playing disc golf for his job. And I'm guessing he's a young kid. He probably likes to get out there and play. I bet he's playing a lot of golf, and maybe some of that's catching up with him and kind of hard on his body. So I don't know, but he's young. I'm guessing he'll bounce back. But dude, you know I'm a Beast fan. So anytime that dude is in it, I think it's good for disc golf. And I have my dude Kevin Babbitt messaging me. I guess he doesn't have the Disc Golf Pro Tour or network because he's asking me, what's going on? What happened there? Why is this? So he's probably out playing disc golf while I'm wasting my day away watching this crap in the garage. But yeah, it was fantastic, man. It was fantastic. I didn't watch any of the first round. I tried to watch it after the fact, but I fell asleep. I was just getting done traveling in a very eventful trip to San Diego. Very eventful. Got on the plane, got kicked off the plane, had to buy a new ticket, nearly missed my rental car. It sucked.
Oh man, I hate traveling.
And then just, yeah. So I didn't watch much of Saturday because I was trying to come home. So.
All right. Well, we'll stay exclusive kind of on this final round because it's worth talking about. So down the stretch, of course, Little Nick does it. Little Nick takes the win, secures the win. How did he do this, Smitty? What stood out to you?
These dudes were flat, shredding, and they were matching each other hole for hole. It was awesome. But then hole 15 came along, and that's where it went south. Paul Macbeth made his first really bad mistake coming down the stretch, going OB. Nick had, what was it, like 63, 64 feet, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm thinking, okay, this is all right. Paul's just going to lose one. And little Nick drained that putt, and you pumped his fist, and I'm like,
dude, that was huge.
That does it, because 16 doesn't count as a hole. These guys are way too good for 16 to even scare them. I thought, okay, so maybe 17 can give up a stroke, but 18's par at worst is what I was thinking for Nick. And Yeah, Nick had the opportunity and he pounced on it and picked up the birdie on 16 and then just cruised in.
Yeah, dude, that putt was gargantuan because, I mean, if he misses, there's potential that he goes OB even. Because
Yeah.
I think the OB was fairly close.
Potential for him to have a scary putt.
Yeah.
The thing about his putt is it doesn't have a tremendous amount of pace. It's just the right amount. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it could win OB and it could ended it, but that dude, whoo, ice in his veins.
I know, dude. Yeah, I got hyped. I mean, I think it's amazing that Austin Turner was there basically from round one throughout. He played extremely well, and I do think this course suits a left to right shot. He's right there in the mix this weekend. Was this performance enough to put him on your radar as a serious contender going forward?
Oh, this dude's always been on my radar. I've known Austin Turner as a bad dude for a long time, and he was on Discraft, then he was on DGA, and then he was unsponsored. And I mean, you talk about sky's the limit. This guy can throw. Did you see that forehand he threw coming down the stretch? I think it was, I don't remember what hole it was. It was during the back nine, and dang, this dude just laced it. And I was like, what was that? Yeah. And then Paul stepped up and put it back in closer.
It was such a battle, and I'm so sad that he misses this little bitty putt on hole 18 to get a solo second finish. He misses it and then ties with Gannon. But
$1,000 putt.
Ugh. And it was 8 feet. I don't think it was very far.
8 or 12. That's the one thing I think is going to hold Austin back is his putting. He doesn't look comfortable. And you know, when the pressure's on and you start to get tight, that's usually the first thing that goes for people. And I mean, I have an unorthodox putt myself, but his putt is a little bizarre.
But man, he was banging from C2.
Oh, he's a step putting assassin.
Yeah. I didn't realize. No, but yeah, so kudos to Austin. Really definitely want to shout him out.
Let's look at these scores just a little bit. We got little Nick winning by 3. The second one is Gannon 4 at 18, trying to go big and park it. Then we have Austin getting the 4. Once again, he had to try to ace it to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
Should have been the easiest 3 ever. And then we have Paul giving up 2 on 18, which once again, he was trying to ace it to put pressure on Nick, and he threw that thing so far right.
Same thing Gannon did.
Yeah, it's probably still flying. If you just look at the scores, Nick won pretty easily, but it wasn't over until 18 was done.
It came down to it.
And unlike Silva in the women's division, Nick understood what was going on. He understood, hey, I just can't lose it. And he threw safe on 17. I mean, his drive on 17 was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
But
it was really the same situation that Silva was in.
But he didn't try to do anything crazy, and he just put it out, put it under, walked off.
Yep.
And then 18, no chance that was going out of bounds, and no chance that upshot was getting more than 8 feet from the pin.
Yep.
So just different, I guess, understanding and able to do what needs to be done. Competitive greatness, as John Wooden would say, doing your best when your best is needed.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, I hope Silva took something from that too.
Look at that guitar!
Oh my gosh. If he would have had his cowboy hat as well. But yeah.
He could have went down and buffed on the main drag down there in Nashville and made some money.
Pretty amazing, dude. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, man.
All right. So I want to talk about Gannon before we jump into some of these other players, because Gannon, along with Lil Nick, they both set course records. But Gannon did this from the chase card, as we mentioned. Smitty, 4 tournaments in, and Gannon still winless. Are we concerned?
Well, I'm not concerned because if you remember, I picked him to have a worse year.
Okay.
The very first show of the season.
9 wins last year.
Dude,
Is it coming close?
No. Little Nick is in it to win it right now. Now we are moving to some bigger courses, so Little Nick might going to struggle, but that dude is dropping bombs too. He can scrap, and it's just really hard to win. There's just a lot of really good players, and I don't know if you've taken note, but my dude McBeast having a season. So whatever he sparked, and I told you so many times last year, I felt like Gannon was the best player getting the best luck, and I don't think he's getting that luck this year.
Nope. No, he's not. And it seems like he's maybe injury prone right now too. So who knows what's going on with that?
Do I think he'll go winless? No.
But nowhere close to 9?
No, I don't think so. Do I think he might still get all the majors? Yeah, I think I'd take him in a longer event.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, I don't think we're sounding the alarm yet. All right, Smitty, let's talk about Gavin Phillips. We got to see him on coverage a little bit. He had a strong showing until Sunday. He did slide back, and I think he finished somewhere not very great, 28th after a rough final round. But what did you see in his game this weekend, and what do you think his future looks like if he can clean up those struggles he had on Sunday?
Well, I think he's a good player. I think he has a strong sidearm, which I think this is the most left to right friendly course that we've ever seen on tour. So I think that played well to his game. He made a lot of really nice deep circle 1 and circle 1 putts and dead in the heart. I think he has maybe the best hair on tour. He and Chris Clemens could take over and do Pantene ads or something.
Yeah, with Troy Polamalu, head and shoulders.
Watch your back, Troy. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that, Gavin, that his name?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say, Gavin's the next whatever, Chandler Kramer. But I think he could be a force. I don't think he'll win a tour event this year.
No, I just always think it's fun when someone pops off that we don't really know. That's really kind of unheard of. I mean, minus he got 2 aces at Open at Austin in that tournament. That's the first time I heard of him.
This dude did that?
That was the one that did it.
Nice.
Yeah, because we were set to talk about it, and then we didn't end up talking about it. But yeah, that's the guy.
Sick. Yeah, I think he's good, but I'm not ready to put a Gavin Phillips poster up in my bedroom yet.
All right. Well, that makes one of us.
Although he'd be good on a poster.
He would. He'd look real nice. And so we talked about Austin, and I did see this, Smitty, but go ahead and tell us why we have this Zen can here.
Well, he was using it as a mini. Hopefully he picks up a Zen sponsor, and hopefully they hook him up with all the free Zen he needs. So my question is it the legal size?
I don't know. I will say I did see someone, I'm not going to say who, at Monkey Island also use a Zen can before Austin did as a mini. So,
I mean, I know there's a regulation size for a mini. It's got to be a certain width.
They seem pretty large.
I think if you're going down, I think you're okay. I think it's if your mini gets bigger, you might have problems, because I could bring a trash can lid and use that as my mini and then get out from around a tree if I wanted to carry that thing.
Smart.
Yeah. So I do think that Austin could be in the mix at a few more tournaments coming down the stretch. When we move to these bigger courses, not going to be a problem for this dude. This guy can flat throw the stamp off of a Frisbee.
Yeah, I can.
So unlike Gavin, I wouldn't be surprised if Austin's in the mix a few more times.
All right.
I don't know that he'll win, though. It's going to be hard to win.
It will be. All right, somebody, I have a new segment for you before we jump into our picks from last week. Okay?
I'm probably going to suck at it.
No, I have faith in you. So I have 6 different of these. So let's jump into this segment now. Who am I? Really, we're going to call this segment, Who Are You? And if it wasn't copyright prohibited, we would play the Who here. So I'm going to go ahead and sing it. Who are you? Who? So I have 6 different players here for you. And I'm sorry about that, Smitty.
That was bad.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. So here we go. I'm going to show you where they placed this year, and you're going to tell me who that player is. Now, I think you should get at least 3 of these. 3 will be tough.
Who's that?
Who do you think this is?
Beast mode.
It is. It is Paul Macbeth. You are correct.
Look at that dude. He's been in the mix, man.
He really has. That's a really good showing. And it wasn't until I put this all together that I'm like, oh. And so when you said earlier, hey, Paul's having a good year, I'm like, oh, I know. I just put the stats together. All right. Yeah. So who's this one, Smitty?
Oh, Gannonburg.
Yeah. Another one that's in the mix. I am going to say this. The fact that we can look at Music City Open, this should help you out a little bit because, that's fresh in our mind. But yeah, dude's been nearly top 10 in 4 different tournaments, top 5 in the last 3. So
yeah. Are you worried?
Nothing to worry about for that guy. All right. Here's another one. Let's see if you can get this one. So you're 2 for 2. Who was that weirdo?
Oh, Hammer Time.
Dude, he has not been outside of the top 10 all year. Isn't that pretty crazy?
Yeah. That's good.
Unexpected.
Didn't see much of him this week.
We didn't. And so that's why like a sneaky little top 10 finish here at MCO.
Wonder if he had a hot last round.
I'm not sure, but I do know that you are 3 for 3. All right, Smitty, let's see what you can do here.
Anthony Barella?
Oh, that's a good guess. But you do have your first strike against you. You want another guess? Or do you want me to tell you?
Rick? No, I don't know.
This is Vincent Heimberg. So
yeah, he's playing a little better than what you would think, isn't he?
Exactly. It's like quiet. It's so quiet.
It's just because he's not on the lead card.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. 2 more. Who is this? This is going to be probably your toughest one. No, this won't be your toughest. The next one might be.
Man. Is this Rick?
It is Rick. Smitty.
I just knew Rick did terrible at Waco, and Rick was
leading in the first round.
And he was doing good the first part of his second round. And then just when they came back out that morning, he just didn't have it.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right, if you get this one, you get a unsweetened tea on me. For those of you at home, also, you can play along.
Oh, I got it. That's my teammate.
Get out of here. It is your teammate.
Whoa!
Tell us who it is.
Baby.
Yep.
Evan Smith Scott.
Evan Smith. That is your guy. So your teammate, pretty good 2 solid finishes. He's kind of like Rick, just opposite Rick.
Yeah.
But all right, cool. I just thought I'd put that together. Thought it was a little fun.
Not bad.
Yeah, thanks. I think I'll do a few of these every month or so. 5 out of 6.
Yeah.
All right. Smitty, here you go.
I cheated on the last one.
You did?
I got it up on my screen, so I sneaked a peek.
I said no cheating.
Yeah,
Well, at least you fessed up to it. So
I have to. I'm too honest.
Your integrity shines through. All right, so let's see how we did with picks this week, shall we?
Yeah, I'm down.
All right, let's get into it. Bum-ba-da-dum. Weekly
picks.
All right.
Let's get into this. So, start with the stink. And boy, did you blow it.
I did ruin this for you. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I went Gavin first. You loved it so much that you also went Gavin. And I gave Gavin reds for both of us.
Thought we were going to get yellows for sure.
Yeah, we could have earned reds, or yellows, but and we probably should have, but it's to pick a stink, right? And this is going off of last year's events, and Gavin averaged a 26th place finish.
So he did better.
24th. He did better than normal. That's not stink.
All right.
And it's pretty good play.
I mean, yeah, great work. Considering we both picked him because he's failed to do well at this event 2 years in a row. So good job, Gavin. Good playing, dude.
Yeah. Sleeper. I went with my dude Eagle, who I'm just waiting for a breakout event. You went with Bob Burridge because, well, you're a big Bob Burridge fan.
Mm-hmm.
And you looked back at New Zealand and you thought, oh, man, this guy is amazing.
And the last 2 years, he finished top 20.
And what you didn't remember was that New Zealand, there's a lot of good disc golfers there, but not any fantastic disc golfers except for Ezra. And Bob sucked, Lucas.
I missed the cut.
Bob got cut.
Come on, Bob.
Eagle, 32nd.
Not great.
Yeah, not great. Not good. So I gave you a red and me a yellow.
Where was his average finish last year? Did you look?
I didn't even look it up.
Yeah, probably deserving of a red.
Wasn't worth it to me. No, I think he didn't have a great year last year. He didn't even play this event. And it's just, I mean, Eagle finishing outside the top 30 is not great, but it's not missing the cut.
23rd last year.
Yeah. Better than you. So I'm taking a yellow.
All right.
I could have taken a green.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
All right, here we go. Shine. This frustrates me a little bit because you took my guy.
I did.
I was on my guy, Paul, and you took him. And unlike you, I'm not a chump. So on the fly, I thought, well, who else are you going to go if he goes Paul? And I knew that Dickerson had a long string of top 10 finishes in Tennessee and a long string of good play at this event. Well, there we go. Paul had a shot at winning, earning you the green, and Dickerson gets the top 20 rule. Can't get a red if you're in the top 20.
Well, I will say, do I need to start having backup picks if you pick my guy? So you can start calling me a chump? Or am I going to be a chump? I'm
probably going to call you a chump regardless. Sorry, man. It's the way I roll.
Perfect. Love to hear it.
Yes, sir. And we don't have to make picks this week. Whoops. Because we got a week off.
Yeah, we do. But you know what we do need to see is, Smitty, we now have a winner of the Survivor League Let's take a peek at that right now.
Let's do it.
Smitty, I see 4 red X's here. No one was in the top 15. The closest was AB and Dickerson, who finished tied 19th. And then Simon, I think like in 30th or something. Wasn't good. So I don't know who won, Smitty.
4-way split. Let us all back in.
All right. So Survivor League Volume 1 is done. We are going to open it back up. Anyone that wants in, message me. What?
Volume 2.
Well, now it's going to be Volume 2.
Already has been. Volume 2.
This is our first one of the year.
I thought all those dudes got eliminated right off the bat. I thought we had to repick.
No.
This is still the first one?
This is still the first one.
Oh, my God. Well, good job, you guys.
Yeah, they survived a couple extra weeks. Remember, there's only been 4 weeks, Smitty, so they survived 4 tournaments. That's it.
Well, we've been out so long, it feels like it's been 2.
We've only been gone 2 weeks, but there has been some gaps. So there was 16 people in this last one, so it will be split evenly, $40 a piece for every one of you chumps that beat us. It does feel cool to call people chumps.
Or $30 in their entry to the next Survivor.
Yeah, but you can also get back in. So remember, we are going to be picking for KC Wide Open. If you want in, message me on Facebook. Message me on YouTube. Message Smitty. Doesn't matter who. Just let us know you want in. I'll also be making a post on the Win Dummies podcast Facebook group, so you can look and say you want in there as well. $10 is all that it costs to get in, and you pick someone every single week. Doesn't matter who you pick. They just have to finish in the top 15. If they don't, you're out. If they do, you're in, but you can no longer pick that person again for the rest of the way. And that's how it works. So if you want in, let me and Smitty know. We'd love to have you. We're not going to limit it. So if we get 25 people, we're doing 25 people. Bring it on.
I still can't believe this is the first one. Wow. Right on.
All right, Smitty. I think we got one more segment.
Yeah, we do. Welcome to Big Deal, the segment of the show where Lucas takes a deep dive into things that everyone is talking about. Or maybe they're not. Whether they deserve the hype and truly are a big deal, or are just a total overblown, yeah, big deal, bro. Get ready for some hot takes, sarcastic commentary, and a little bit of drama. Because in this segment, we'll decide whether it's a big deal. You ready?
Yeah, but actually, this is for you, Smitty. I know you didn't know this, but
Hey, I got one for you.
Oh, I got one for you.
We got 2.
All right, well, I'll go first. Was this yours?
Nope.
All right, Smitty. It just became available to bet on disc golf. This was announced on April 1st. Everyone thought it was an April Fool's joke, but this is a real deal. Yep, I did too, though. This is the real deal, Smitty. Is it a big deal that we have betting in disc golf? Or, nah, big deal, bro?
At this point, I'm going to say, nah, big deal, bro. I don't think you can make huge bets. And I think you can only bet on the winners of the tournaments. It won't be long before we have some sort of drama from this, would be my guess. And it probably goes out the window because I think that's why they're limiting the pots as well. Is because
250, yeah, is the max you can bet.
Is the max you can bet?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's still a pretty good chunk of change, but probably not enough to send Gannon a text on hole 18 and say, bro, you're about to win. And I took Nicholas. Please throw your drive out of bounds to the right 95 feet. Thank you. Love, Smitty. I'm not saying that that's what happened. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're big enough yet for it to be a big deal. So, what do you think?
I think it's not quite there either. I do think it's a big deal that it's available.
How many states is it available in?
Yeah, that's another thing. It's not even available for us here in Kansas. Here's the map. So it's got actually quite a few states, Smitty. All those in blue have the daily fantasy, or green, whatever color that is. They got the daily fantasy. And then there's sports betting in the yellow. And then casino betting, of course, in Las Vegas. But yeah, more states than you thought.
Yeah, what's white? Nothing?
That means nothing. That's us.
Well, what's interesting is I was in California and I called up DraftKings and I couldn't find anything disc golf related on DraftKings. I was also in Arizona on the way home. And I tried again and couldn't find anything. So I don't know if maybe it's something connected to my DraftKings account. Maybe it wasn't finding my location. And I was also in Las Vegas and looked and didn't see anything.
Yeah, so it sounds like your location's turned off, Smitty.
Well, maybe I was just getting off of an airplane. So who knows? So yeah, big deal, bro, to me right now.
All right. Still, like I said, I think there's quite a few states, so pretty cool. All right, you have one for me as well.
Yeah. All right, Lucas. So this weekend, I don't know if it was planned or unplanned, but the Disc Golf Pro Tour cut the field. After 2 rounds, they cut the field. They cut off part of the field. Do you think that cuts should be part of the Disc Golf Pro Tour?
Yeah, I like cuts. I think when they're bigger tournaments, for sure, right? If they're a 4-day, I like the cuts. I don't know if doing it on a 3-day is the right call. I do think where they cut was probably not the right spot. They probably needed to go down a little bit more. It seemed like a good chunk of that field got cut. I mean, the cash line, what, is 40%?
They cut to the cash line.
Yeah, I think you should at least keep half. But yeah, I don't mind a cut in a smaller tournament. I don't think it's necessary, but for weather purposes, I wasn't unhappy with how it played out. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't mind the cut. Part of me thinks that you should cut at the cash line, because if I'm that dude that's 3 strokes out of cash and I have to go play in a miserable, terrible round, it being the first guy off in the coldest weather, I don't have a shot, most likely.
Yeah.
And then these guys that come in last cash, that would they rather get on the road instead of win $200? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like if I'm on tour, for me personally, I'm probably in that position where I'm not getting a ton of my stuff paid for, right? So, like, I need that extra money. And if I'm one of the ones that's outside of cash, but I have a chance that final day to jump up there just because they went to 50% instead of 40%, maybe I can jump up in cash and get a little extra to eat that week, whatever it might be. I think those are the type of people that are usually on that cash line, are the people that aren't getting a ton of money from their sponsors.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, cool. Smitty, we've done it, man.
Yes, sir.
Another episode in the book, episode 56, done. But we do have some shout outs for the week. Anyone that you want to give a shout out to?
Stingers up. I got to give it up to Cade for getting a podium finish in individual at college championships, college nationals, and Atlanta for getting the win. Pretty awesome.
So cool to have pretty close to home representing in the world of disc golf on the college level. I mean, it's really, really awesome. And I think D2 men had a chance. They kind of fell, but they were, I think, top 3 going into the final day, and they kind of fell that final round. But lots of good performances out there, man. And I think this is Cade's last year on the team. So
he's going to be a local to us.
Yeah, he's going to come to Wichita, and I know this meant a lot to him, especially because he's been competing hard on that team for a long time. And for him to come out, I think he was one of the lower rated of that A team, and he came out and showed out, and I'm super proud and happy that he did that.
Yeah, that's awesome for both of those two.
Yeah,
so I don't think their teams did quite what they wanted. Wasn't quite the weekend for the teams, but great on those two for great performances.
Yeah, I do think the ladies got second. So a podium finish for the A team. So yeah, we got to give it up to the Emporia State Hornets, led of course by the man himself, Eric McCabe. I have a shout out to give, Smitty. I'm going to give a shout out to Darren Bottom, Lindy Blank, Dennis Vashholtz for bringing me and Brandon Disc and Deals coverage out to Disc Unlimited Open this weekend. It was a good time. Windy, cold, but man, it was exciting. Came down to a playoff in the MCO, so be on the lookout for that. It was a good time.
Tell them who won?
No.
Okay.
No, and it is hard to find, so you're going to have to do some research in order to find it.
A little bit.
But all right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in as always. Make sure you comment below. Let us know some of your thoughts, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye now.